stem cells didn't help.
Well, tell them about the image. When you find
I mean, it's bone on bone. There's nothing behind the tibia or behind the kneecap.
Damn.
There was no ACL.
There's no, it was just gone.
ACL was just MIA.
Doctor's like,
yeah.
How are you walking?
Yeah, that was the pretty much the synopsis was when there was no. My best friend in the world, his wife's an orthopedic PA. Let me see if I can find and when she sent over the like summary, she said, "Yeah, I don't know how you're walking, let alone."
It's a
it started off with, "I'm sorry," you know.
Condolences.
It's never a good start.
Yeah. Did you? Oh,
are we rolling?
I introduced you to K-Star, Kelly Star.
Yeah. I just I was just texting with him on Friday.
Okay, so
Thursday.
He just did a knee replacement.
Oh, he did?
He did. And same kind of thing where he had this just traumatic ski injury back in the day.
Okay.
And had broken a large portion, apparently, like of femur and tibia.
Really?
Just ate it and like didn't know. Like effectively when the doctors saw down the road, when they got to the point, they were like, yeah, dude, I mean, didn't know this was possible.
I would assume because he's like, too, like, I mean, he's like a grown Gumby. Like all that stretching is like, he just covered it up.
Yeah. And movement patterns and bone density and like just a healthy lifestyle allowed him to,
survive.
What a good dude, by the way.
And thrive.
Such a good dude.
The man.
He is.
Yeah, I'll show you this after. But yeah,
just got some pain cream.
The summary is just, it's gone.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
We had stem cell clinics, so like I was into that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did that way back, and it just there's nothing there for it to graft to or grow, So
what's the concept with the hyaluronic acid though?
It's basically your synovial fluid, the fluid that when you start moving, your body just injects it, and it basically think of it as like 3-in-1 oil, something like that. What they'll do is I think you do it in every couple weeks. It's like a part series or whatever, and it peaks at like 4 to 6 weeks, I think, of like the viscosity of its rooster cone. You see all this stuff where it's like people do it, women do it for their face and whatever.
Somebody reached out to me because of the Ironman.
Yeah.
And they said, so if you started 4 to 6 weeks out.
Yeah, try it.
By the time of race day.
Probably might help a little bit.
You got some extra buffer or whatever in your knees.
We're happy to get you some, peptides that probably won't do a lot, but inject it right in the knee and just see if it provides relief.
Yeah. I just have to look at what the CrossFit open rules say.
Yeah.
Well, great place to start. At long last, Josh Whalen from Blokes is in the house too. We're glad you're here.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah. I think a really cool place to start because, you're both business owners. You've both done pretty cool things, and I think the story of Blokes is tremendous, right? Like I got a chance to come down, meet with you a long time ago, but you guys, even then, you were. I don't want to say you're starting your hustle. You were already successful, but you guys have really blown up. Yeah. So I would really love to hear just kind of this quick story of the business.
Yeah, first of all, I got more gray hairs to show for the blowing up. So it's happening.
I'm bald. It's all right. Everybody tells me. Internet lets me know.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, it was born out of just my personal struggles with health and healthcare. I mean, everybody knows the healthcare system is broken when it comes to preventative and proactive care. And I've been in healthcare for such a long time that I was on the opposite side of being a patient. And I lost my sex drive. Katie was ready to divorce me because of that. I was 55 pounds heavier. I hadn't even seen the inside of a gym in years, and I'd play rugby at a high level. So for me, that was a definite difference in my lifestyle and how I felt. And I went down the traditional care route, saw primary care, and he's like, "You're normal." I'm like, "Whoa, I don't feel normal." And that was my first time as a patient feeling gaslit. Mm-hmm. And I was just lucky enough that I was talking to my brother-in-law, and I was like, "Hey man, here's where my life is," and my sister, and they're like, "Go see this guy in Golden, Colorado." This was 6 years ago. And he's this optimization guru. He does these crazy things called peptides, and he looks at your labs differently and da-da-da. And that was the single encounter that I credit towards starting Joi+Blokes, saving my marriage, and then putting me on my definition of a warpath of prioritizing my health. And we're now at it a little over 4 years, and some of the battle wounds are there, and being an entrepreneur is probably as hard as being a parent, but it's been rewarding, and it's great. We get to meet good people like you guys as well.
100%. Is that guy from Golden still part of your?
He's not. it was interesting. I approached him as I was like, because there was a phase of that. You know, first I had no ambition on being in this space. Like it was like, oh, and then all of a sudden, like I got on those treatments. I went through the experience. And I was like, wait, this is how healthcare should be.
Should be more accessible.
Exactly, and somebody should talk to me and talk through my labs and what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling it, why I'm feeling that, and then assess whether or not treatments are right. I was a train wreck. My testosterone was like 200. You know, it was horrible. And I felt it. All the common symptoms. So I was a perfect classic candidate for him. But I went to him and I said, hey man, I'd love for you to do this with me. I'm going to try to blow this thing up. And he's like, Josh, you have my blessing. I'm retiring in 2 years. So he's actually he's a well-renowned physician's assistant, was really involved in the OR with some spinal cord stimulators. So he's like a genius by most of the clinical standards, but he just was sunsetting. So I went and did it on my own.
There you go.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Yeah. And I'm eventually going to connect this with like the first thing that we were talking about, but the entry into CrossFit, was that based on a passion for, or just a natural fit? How did that kind of come about? Because obviously at some point we got in contact.
Yeah. And
you're like, hey man, let's talk.
Listen, I was a wrestler for 12 years of my life, and I had always seen CrossFit, and I think it was just the appetite of getting healthy again. It was like, what can I do that's, not wrestling, because that wrestling didn't exist for me at that time. And, what is the next thing? And CrossFit was just something I just started dabbling with, and then grown to love it. And I go to H-Stub in Nashville, and my wife and I, we have a date session twice a week where we go and get personal sessions with Trey, and it's been phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lifestyle fit, right? Optimizing health and fitness, and man, people just want to feel better. I mean, obviously there's different levels and tiers to why people are doing CrossFit, right? But I think, let's be honest, everybody walks through the door because they want to feel and look a little bit better, right? And so one way to optimize that is from the inside out as well,
Yeah, and the tricky part of the conversations, like this was like we wrestled, right?
Yeah.
When you're first like, hey man, I'd love to be like get to know Rich, be in a relationship and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, it's tricky because CrossFit is a fitness program, and it is also a sport, right? And there's some obvious no-goes on the sport side. And I wonder how often you run into that, right? Like,
yeah, I mean,
helping people navigate that space. Like again, there's no gray area when it comes to like, hey, if I'm an athlete, I can and can't do these things. But I think it also.
I can talk a little bit to how even my telehealth stuff was like, hey, here's my blood work. What can we do within? You guys know the framework of what we're allowed to. We use WADA, and so hey, I'm not really competing, but I still I'm not to the point yet where I need to do hormone. I mean. At no point, I'm anywhere from, depending on when we test, 700 to 800 testosterone. My problem is my free testosterone is just bound up because I'm always doing something, fitness stress, life stress, whatever. And so I'm like, all right, yeah, how can we optimize this with smart supplements? So smart supplements are a big part of what I did or do. And then, you can do that through nutrition. It doesn't always have to be through synthetic or hormone replacement stuff. Totally. And so, yeah, you can have kind of all of it, right? And where you're the opposite, where you were like, from other circumstances.
Missing testicle.
Yep.
Yep.
You went the other route, right? And you're not trying to compete.
Correct.
So I don't know if you want to.
Yeah.
I kind of stole where we were going with that, but I think that kind of describes it, right? Spells
it out perfectly, though, right? It's like, because again, like what's funny is I guess I would love to hear you speak to how you do talk to these to folks who are potential patients on both sides of the ball, because there are scenarios, and I don't want to sit here and be like, well, I've got a special scenario, but there's the potential that a lot of people kind of point a finger and be like, hey, this stuff is just being, peptides in particular or hormone therapy, just being stuffed down people's throats and overprescribed. Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody's journey is different. Like, Rich, you may never do TRT. You may say when you're 50, like, that's honestly, for me. If I start dipping below 400 or 500, then I would start considering it. I'm not trying to compete or do anything at a high level anymore. Yeah. I'm not opposed to it at a certain age, but I would like to ride it out as long as I could doing it, without it.
Yeah, and our goal from day one was to build out an ecosystem to meet that person where they're at in their journey. Everybody. I don't care if you're, 60, 70, 30 on TRT, not on TRT. Labs are a great baseline. Should be getting at least once to twice annually, labs. So for us, it was like, how do we build this ecosystem that can work with athletes to, your average Joe? I mean, that's quite frankly, that's who we're treating most of the time.
Oh, yes.
The 40 to 50-year-old guy who's like, man, I just lost my edge. I've gained 40, 50 pounds. I want to get back to my 25-year-old self. So it's less of like the athlete, but we want to be able to treat them. And we think that the labs are the journey, the part to start. And then getting that clinician guidance, whether it's about nutrition, diet, lifestyle, is the cherry on top.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And we vibed on that big time, where that has always been a large part of, in my mind, a good CrossFit coach was encouraging their members to see what was happening under the hood.
Yep.
Right? Because you put a lot of stock in the scale until you understand that, like, man, there are so many other factors that are far superior in terms of like how they're going to affect my life and longevity and well-being than what the number on the scale says or exactly how I look in the mirror. Those are side benefits usually, but these numbers are the ones that are super duper important. So I love to hear you say that as well.
Yeah, I mean, this whole space has changed over the last 5 years. Like prior to Joi+Blokes, like your standard doctor visit was a horrible visit. You went in, you got your CBC, you got your CMP, maybe you got your testosterone, but you probably had to argue with your doctor about getting it because it wasn't going to be covered by insurance.
And you had to sit in a waiting room.
Exactly. I mean, like we've all been through that experience, and the benefit of where we've come in the last 5 years is this is more on the preventative side. This is proactive longevity. This whole Peter Attia push, Andrew Huberman, they put this on the spotlight for people to start prioritizing their health.
Yeah, absolutely, and total game changer. The what's the most exciting kind of 2026 next thing happening? I wasn't the smartest guy in high school. Yeah. I always say C's got me a degree, but I'm super pumped for this research portion of what we're rolling out. We just launched our first white paper, got published. There's a gentleman at BYU by the name of Ben Bickman and Paul Reynolds. They're both PhD scientists with BYU, and they've come on board to help us really validate what we've been saying. Everybody, knows a lot of these therapies work. They feel good, they're waking up better, they're sleeping better, but now we're actually putting some merit behind it. So I'm really pumped about that. And, the nerd in me is starting to come out on that. But we're hoping to publish somewhere between 9 and 12 white papers this year on everything we do, whether it's smart supplements, labs, nutrition, testosterone for men, testosterone for women, because that's a big push of what we're doing now. Even some of these peptides that don't have a lot of clinical data behind it. I kind of derailed you there. We were going on the blood work, and I want to hear more about. It's funny when Rich walked in, we were talking to Hillary, and she was talking about she's kind of has the fear of the needle and doesn't love getting the blood draw. And you were talking about a device. What's coming down the pipe?
So we partnered with a company called Tasso. It's a device that sits right on your shoulder. It's a very, very painless device.
Small needle, yep.
Very small micro needles is what they call them. It takes your blood within a matter of 2 to 4 minutes. Send it right back.
Slow drip. We tested it the other day.
Yeah, it's great. And for everybody who is okay with a needle, a lot of people aren't. I mean, this is I think going to be the most accessible way to look at blood. And what's great about what we're doing is, for example, our hormone panel. We're adding hematocrit, which is a vital marker in prescribing anything that is enclomiphene related, TRT related. It's not just 1 or 2 biomarkers. We're going to be testing up to 17 biomarkers in one setting, and then everybody's going to have a clinician visit with it. So it's going to be still what I would call that white glove approach with an at-home device.
It's also, you don't have to take the time out to go get your blood drawn.
Totally.
Still you got to go. Yeah. Currently, you have to go to LabCorp and have a time or whatever, and you've got to go out of your normal rhythm. This literally comes in a pack and has the instructions right there, and put it on your arm and hit a button, and you sit there and let it drain out a little bit, kind of slow, because they're small needles, like you say, micro needles, and you don't have to do any of that.
But then what?
You send it off. Same
Or
thing.
you just peel it off and
Peel it off.
Okay, so it's not like the
one and done.
Okay, not like the glucose monitors. Where
No,
you
no,
wear it
no. You
forever.
literally
Okay.
you just slap this thing on. Almost it's vacuum sealed almost,
exactly.
and so it'll just slow trickle. Once it fills up to the line, you pull it off and mail it in. So you don't even have to like.
That's
somebody
wild.
like me that is not going to take the time to go do any of the other stuff. It's great.
Yeah, and your wife, who's like, I do not like needles. This is like a really good compromise, and you know, it still gives you the value of getting your blood analyzed and reported, and the convenience of.
So we tested it out, but you'll get your full everything you would by going and getting the LabCorp, or
slightly different.
Okay.
Yep, pared down. You know, the tests you've been getting is 100 plus biomarkers.
Right.
There's no technology that exists that's that as advanced yet.
Yep.
But this is going to get about 17, and that's for the bang for the buck. You're still getting critical biomarkers. You know, obviously all your hormones. Looking at even heart markers like cortisol and ApoB. So really good markers.
Yeah, I was about to say because that blows my mind. Usually when I give blood, it's
couple vials. Yeah,
exactly.
Dude, yeah, it's 15 vials.
Yeah.
So this is easy. I mean, we'll see where the technology is going. I mean, there's now devices that are coming out that it's like a cheek swab or saliva kit where we're testing testosterone, and everybody's like, oh, this is the Elizabeth Holmes things, but technology is starting to catch up in a more convenient way.
Yeah, man, I love that. Yeah, it's interesting. My mind keeps going back to just because I know our audience well, right? And there's, it's a really educated group of people, trainers. I'm sure they can buy into the testing your blood, knowing what's going on, getting a deeper analysis. But then I think you get a lot of pushback when it comes to, again, I don't know if it's because of confusion with sport or just trying to make sure that things are handled responsibly. But do you think, is it hard to have that conversation, or do you get a lot of pushback?
I think it's hard to have the conversation because we haven't had it. Like, listen, testosterone is what it is. It's peptides are what they are.
Well, as long as you say TRT, it's politically correct.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But like, I think the most important thing we can do is talk about it. Like guys have hidden in the dark for years and that have legitimate clinical issues that need to be addressed. This isn't your 1% of your 1% riches. But I even think too, like, you got to look at a lot of these athletes who are retiring from the NFL, CrossFit, like, these are decisions that they're going to have to face at one point. And, you mentioned it, your free test is bound. Like, that's stress.
Not
that's
usable,
physical stress, mental stress. You're an entrepreneur, you're a dad, you're doing everything. Like, at some point, every guy is probably going to have this conversation, but it's between them and their clinician.
Yeah.
And I think, even in this community, I think the more we can bring awareness to just prioritizing your health, and if that's just labs, then even better, and I'll support that. But to me, TRT is it's something that is personal and should happen when it's ready.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think the big thing, like you're saying, is the labs to start, right? It's like, hey, let's look at it all. And then, I mean, it's been, the couple times that I've had the I say face-to-face, but it's telehealth. It was awesome. It's like, all right, hey, these are my goals. This is what I do want to do. This is what I don't want to do. I don't want to even ride this red or gray line. Gray area. And so, we talked about, we got the smart sups, did that. And then, a little bit of nutrition, maybe some, I sleep pretty well. But just little things. And hey, if we get to this point, hey, maybe we could talk about that, whatever. Yeah. But I'm like, right now, that's not where I'm at. And I don't really need it, honestly. It was more of like, hey, what are some of the little things we could change and see what it does?
I mean, how old are you, Rich?
I'll be 39.
Okay, so like getting your blood done is to me, it's an investment in your future. Yeah. You have 3 kids, you have a wife, you have this beautiful farm. Like, you got to be healthy. And if it's just looking under the hood, that's better than anything else.
Absolutely.
And that's what I tell so many of the people in the CrossFit community. I mean, I'm part of it, and it's crazy. Like, if I talk to 10 of them, 8 of them have never even had their blood drawn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they're pushing themselves to every limit in the gym, physically, mentally. And, sometimes it's just a little tweak that can make you that much better of an athlete, or just maybe a better dad or mom.
Better,
That's right.
So I think, for us, we're going to continue to like try to meet the consumer where we're at. That's why we're rounding out our supplement portfolio. And, we're starting to, test with, do we go NSF or do we not? And that would really help us with the athlete side, combining that with the labs, and we become this little powerful engine,
I love that. Recommend NSF just because, again, like I think that, there's people that would really, really appreciate that. I think in our community, right? Where they're like,
absolutely. Yeah. We don't have to even worry about it or think about it. Everybody's heard that story where somebody took something.
Yeah. Probably way harder on you.
Yeah.
Well, it is. But it's peace of mind too. I mean, listen, we see 300 patients a day.
Yeah.
There are people that come through that I don't know and I will never know.
Right.
And some of those might be athletes. And believe it or not, we've been in that situation and we've had to break the news like, hey, listen, like that's got something in there that you shouldn't take. I don't know who you are, but you shouldn't take it. Let's bury this conversation. But the reality is if we can do that, I'll have a little bit more peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. Especially as a competitor too.
Yeah.
Remember those days where you're just like, man,
yep.
You don't want to be that statistic. There was like, oh, it was, it was housed with whatever, and you're just like, no, I don't even want to risk that.
Totally, and we get a COA on every supplement we do, so we can stand by it, but it doesn't take that next degree. That would separate us, and then you start looking at some of the bigger groups, the Thorns of the world, the Momentous of the world. It's like we're a total package at that point.
Yep.
We can meet anybody at any point, athlete or
50-year-old
Dolores.
Right. One of my favorite developments was, and I don't want to sound like a commercial, but this is like authentic because I think I might have talked to you about it a long time ago. The first time I ever did a triathlon, one of my mom's friends handed me a compounded pain cream, and I was like, "Holy cow!" Like never even heard of this before. And then, however, it came back up a couple of years later. You were like, "Yeah, dude, we're doing that."
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
I do too. And it's funny. I'll give you a little background. I used to be a sales rep. I used to have my own medical device distributorship, and I used to sell the shit out of pain creams. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. And who I sold them to were pain management doctors. And the reason why pain management doctors were prescribing it was because they wanted their patients to get off of opiates or use less of opiates. And the knee pains, the back pains, the elbow pains, the shoulder pains, it was actually, this is anecdotal. I don't have a clinical study, but I would sell to 100 different pain management doctors and they'd all go, dude, my patients are on like a quarter less Oxy, a quarter less Percocet, or some have even got off of it because of that dang pain cream. What is in it?
Yeah.
And, it was great that now that we're vertically aligned with our own compounding pharmacy, like we can make it and make it relatively cost effective. When you start buying it from third parties, it gets really, really hard to make it work with margins, but we're excited about that. It's kind of taken off on its own, and it's fun to just see it grow. And it's another way to just help with small injuries, or maybe somebody who's actually dealing with something bigger.
It's funny, that stuff would always get shipped to your and Angelo's office and disappear. Not disappear, but it would
was not my office at the time.
It would definitely be light. The bottle would be light for sure.
Bird in Angelo's office. Well, and what you mentioned, I don't know if you guys make it bespoke for different people, but what was cool is we were like, hey, like this one, athletes will be using it. So to your point about, it's got to be ingredients that we've sent off and made sure that they were valid. But you can actually like alter that, like you're saying. And change it up.
As we grow and scale, we'll add more options. I mean, at some point we might even put things like gabapentin in it, and that are really great for nerve pain. And so taking it to another level. I had shingles last year, and believe it or not, it's like the worst thing. And
I've heard it's terrible.
Oh, dude, it was horrible. At 42 years old, I'm like, what's going on? And doctor's like,
it's grown.
You have shingles,
right?
Yeah, it's grown. And they're like,
it's what?
It's adult chickenpox.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
They're like, are you under stress? I'm like, oh,
just
a little bit,
just a touch.
But they gave me gabapentin. And I took it, and it worked, and that was an oral version. But I was like, God, how much could that work for people with nerve pain? And so we'll start doing that. The problem with something like that is some states consider it a controlled substance, and then you start dealing with regulations and telehealth laws. So
that's got to be just an ongoing nightmare.
It's every day, man.
Is it really?
100%. I mean, the space has evolved and changed so much. When we first launched, COVID was in full effect.
Oh, so you're so much telehealth.
Yeah. And nobody, first of all, nobody ever did telehealth, let alone like bought into the actual process. So like if there was one benefit of COVID was telehealth. Like if people were like, wow, that's really easy. And now you're seeing the explosion of it. But you know, now that COVID has died to some extent, the regulatory landscape has
Government's got to regulate it, man.
Man,
got to get their piece.
They got to get their piece. And it's going to be even crazier because they're changing the controlled substance laws is what we're hearing, which I think is good because you put the ownership on the clinician, not the government.
Yeah.
Like give them the ability to prescribe.
Yep.
Like as long as they're meeting a clinician in some shape and form, like 100%. Put the patient and the clinician, give them what they went to school for to do, to prescribe medication.
Government shouldn't be regulating that.
No, it's getting out of hand, you know, and I think we have an administration that is going to help in some capacity. I wish they would move a tad bit faster because the peptide space is getting a little crazy with research peptides.
I don't understand any of it really. You know, I remember years ago BPC 157 was the big thing. It's since been banned by WADA when. Shoot.
It was good until 18 or so, right?
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, it does sound right.
I think pre-18 it was good, post-18
they banned
was
it because
bad.
it works or banned it because they don't know what it does? They don't, you know, like.
I mean, listen, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Like it is anything that.
This is North Korea. We can run whatever media
all
we
day.
want, so
they're producing it.
Yeah.
For me, it always comes back to where's the money going. You have. Let's just be honest, they're unregulated peptides with you know, big FDA papers. They don't exist behind the BPCs, the CJCs. So when you look at
CJC, what's CJC?
CJC, it's a growth hormone, but it was really big 3 years ago when compounders could make it legally. But if you look at the trail, you know, it all comes back to big pharma.
Money, Big
pharma. And what has happened is you've had this growing demand of consumers who are like, whoa, these things work. I feel better. I'm sleeping better. I'm having better sex. It's, you know, you're not shutting down the body's natural production with the peptide. You're just stimulating it.
What's the other one? TB
500, 400.
Those are the two that like everybody was BPC 157, TB 500.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, well,
Wolverine stack.
Yeah.
And listen, I've been a patient on these. There's not a peptide I haven't tried. And where I actually want, you know, RFK and this FDA to come is to start giving a regulatory lens so that we can bring these back. Because what's happened is they over-regulated them, and then they created this black market of crap peptides that are coming from China and God knows where else. We want to put it back in the prescriber's hand. We want to put it back in the patient's hands and say, I want this, and the clinician is prescribing it. They need to create a regulatory lens so that we can bring back the BPCs, the TB5s, the CJCs, all those funny acronyms.
Are they like illegal now or just by sports standards?
Yeah. So
like BPC 157 is now you can't manufacture it?
Yeah. So I'll break it down for you in a very quick way. There's FDA approved peptides. There's what can be prescribed through a compounded pharmacy, a 503A pharmacy. So those are basically customizable peptides. And then there's a lens that allows those 503A compounding pharmacies to make and manufacture those.
Okay.
Prescriber can prescribe it, but then they've clamped down on those BPCs, the CJCs. So you're not finding them at any legitimate bona fide pharmacy, not in the US. And if they are, they're really risking their own license. So what that's done, because they've clamped down it, is it's created this research peptides. Research is I could go in your garage and create research peptides. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And people are injecting themselves. And here's where it got really sticky and really bad. The emergence of the GLP-1s, the Ozempics, the Mounjaros, the Tirzepatide, all those. That's where all the research peptides have flooded the space. So for me, it's self-preservation. I love these. I love it for the business. I love it for the patients. The outcomes were phenomenal. Like if we had a bad incident, it was a site irritation from a needle. Everybody was feeling good from these, but they got to bring some regulatory lens to it. So we put it back in the compounder's hands, the clinician's hands, and the patient's hands.
Is this, am I understanding this correctly though? Like that, so if somebody thinks they're taking BPC 157 right now, they should really be concerned.
More than likely,
More than likely, because you can do obviously you can do a Google search and it's like, oh yeah, you buy it on this website or
well, shit. Amazon was selling it.
Amazon was selling it.
I mean, there's literally figments of BPC on Amazon that you're just like, what? And then you read the label and you're like, well, there's nothing about BPC on that thing, you know? And I had a friend recently, like he was paying $125 for an oral supply, monthly oral supply of BPC. And he turned around the ingredients. He's like, whoa, what is this? Never even heard of these ingredients. So more than likely, they are getting duped and they're probably overpaying for something that's not there. I don't necessarily have a problem with research peptides if they can be prescribed, tested for purity, potency, sterility, all the things that matter to patient outcomes.
Yeah.
But they're not.
That's not good.
It's not.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy.
It's kind of like the Wild Wild West of anabolic steroids in the 70s and the 80s, where it just got crazy, right? And that's when you saw testosterone become a controlled substance and everything that was associated with testosterone. I worry that could happen here because people are getting hurt. I mean, people have gotten hurt and reported massive adverse side effects. And then what ends up happening is Big Pharma goes, see, we told you those compounded peptides, those good ones, those legal ones, they're part of that problem too. And so they create this mass hysteria. So fun stuff.
Yeah, man. Good luck. I'm sure there's never a dull moment.
There's not, man. And you know, back to what we were talking, like scaling a business is never easy. You know, consumers are changing and the market's tightening and we've
getting flooded and
totally
watered down.
Yeah.
And, yep.
I mean, we've been self-funded. So, you know, we're one of like the very, if I threw 10 competitors on the wall, we'd be one of 10 that are still self-funded and trying to go as long as we can because we want to maintain control and, you know, our community matters to us. And you start getting investors in there and they start saying different things and changing protocols and changing the way you market. And that's
Systems.
our identity. Yeah.
Yep. That's tough.
Rich gets to maintain control of Mayhem for now. You're not taking on any.
No investors.
Can you imagine?
I'll just run it into the ground by myself.
Have you thought about it? No. I mean, I'm sure people have approached you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been wild west.
Yeah.
With the CrossFit sale and all that type of stuff. And honestly, you know, I've probably broken record to most people that listen here regularly, but man, I've learned a lot in the past little less than a year, I guess. And I just small town kid from Cookville just running a CrossFit gym that, you know, kind of like, oh yeah, let's do that too. Oh, let's do that. And then you got people that come in and I didn't even know what the hell EBITDA was up until, 9 months
still
ago.
barely know it.
I still,
Yeah.
I know what it means, but I don't know what it means. And so, yeah, man, it's, once you start, looking at some of that stuff, it's changes the world, right?
Yeah. Did you have the ambition on growing it to this? Or
oh
did it
man,
just
I think it was just kind of like see a need, fill
Yeah.
that need, right? And then bring on my friends and hang out and have some fun and do some fun stuff. And it's grown into this, and we still have fun for the most part. I mean, there's business.
It's been really cool too. We're evolving in the gym space. I know that I talked to you about this, but partnered with a group called Best Hour of Their Day.
Yep.
And they are basically, they are business mentorship for specifically CrossFit gyms. And I've known both of them, but Jason Fernandez I've known forever, but I'm embarrassed how little about their business I knew, right? And it's really impressive to hear him speak. And we did a development weekend recently where we invited a bunch of gym owners out. And some of the basic messages that he was relaying to people, it was almost funny because there are so many CrossFit gym owners who are like, see a need, fill a need, but also they're just so violently passionate. They're like, man, I will just roll up my sleeves and I will kill myself and I will work myself to the bone.
But you don't have to do that.
Literally, where he will almost be like, I sometimes have to give permission to people to say, hey, you can think of this as a business, not just a passion project, I'm not saying that's what Rich did, but it's...
it really is.
Yeah.
I think the business side of it, up until the last 2 years or so, year and a half really, has just been kind of, it'll be all right. And then now you're like, oh, if we want some longevity in this thing and want these guys, I could walk away today in my 5, we would be fine the way we've, saved and done those types of things. But I want these guys to have jobs in 20 years and I enjoy hanging out,
Yeah.
And so there's some things and processes that have had to change or evolve over the last year, I think, and it's been tough to where it's always been pretty much a family business, more emphasis on the family side of it, to where it's like maybe we have to get more towards the middle, right? Yep. And hey, how do we, you know, make this a business that provides for our family? You know, obviously my 5 were the first and they're taken care of and they will be taken care of, but now it's like these guys that have been here with us, like how do we make sure that, you know, 15 years, they still have a job? So those are things that you get sticky, right? And you got to figure out, hey, how can we evolve as a group and put people in different areas where it's not fun. It will be fun, you know, once we get it. And I think we're to a place now, like first there's, you know, 3 or 4 months where you're like, oh man, we gotta, you know, gonna hurt some feelings a little bit or move people around in areas they necessarily don't want to go. But man, it's been, I think it'll be really good for us.
I mean, I've not heard much in the rumblings of CrossFit lately.
Yeah.
Is there a short end of this? Like,
shoot, man, I've disconnected so much from it.
Yeah.
You know, I was so
probably
involved and man, I was so like, all right, hey, let's, you know, how can we position ourselves to take care of these guys, longevity, you know, like how do we, whatever. And then man, for the first couple months and then the last, probably 3 or 4, I'm like, come talk to me when it's over.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll help or whatever. But last I heard was there was no sale.
But did you even know that it was for sale?
I think you told me. There was a potential. And there was a potential buyer is what I heard.
You know, there's been a potential buyer every other week.
Yeah.
It was publicly went to auction, so to speak. Like bids came in.
Sure.
There was a bidding process. It was
their EBITDA wasn't what they thought.
At some point.
That weird word, right?
Yeah. Well, that's where the commonly known secrets all kind of ceased. Was around the CrossFit Games last year, right? It was like
there were secrets, but everybody knew the secrets.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, commonly known, like the best kept, the worst kept secrets ever. But then it just sort of petered out, and the rumors died, and honestly, like to Rich's point, pleasantly, we're all kind of back to business. You know,
sure.
The opens come in.
On. We're like, hey, let's control what we can control, and what we can control is trying to make Mayhem the best product out there, right? And which I'm sure you are too. And it's a loud, noisy network of what you're in a space too that like. You know, there's a new one every day that telehealth and, you know, peptides and all this stuff. And it's like, man, we're just going to control, like you said, the side of it that we can control who we are and what we're pushing and the messaging and just be on brand with who we are. And that community, like what you're saying is like, man, we'll just, you know, for the people that want to be with us, we're going to provide as best we know how and what we think is best. And for those that don't want to be a part of or want to be loud about what they're going to be loud about, let them, man. I'm so over it at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not going to change people's mind that have already had this preconceived notion. Why should we? You know, like we're going to be who we are and stand on that.
No, I mean, for me, it's such a great community. Like you nailed it. Like they're some of the hardest working people I've met are gym owners in this space. And you know, they're struggling to rub 2 nickels together.
Really.
And it's like, how do you just get them in a better mindset, working smarter versus, you know, harder and they deserve it. So hopefully something happens.
100%. Yeah. And I think that honestly, that's the impetus behind what I was telling you about with the gyms, pairing up with other good people who are like-minded, who provide a great service. To go and try and meet those gyms where they're at and give them some tools and some ability to, you know, plug the holes that they need to get plugged and then build on top of it.
Yeah. And I won't even say those people probably, you know, you're saying they're the hardest working people. They're going to do that anyway. So it's how can we make it more efficient to where it's like, yeah, your hard work is going into what you want to do. Because, I mean, here's the deal. It's like, there's this like, you're working for life to get easier. When life gets easier, it's not as much fun. You know, we're like, you're going to be working harder in a different area, right? Yep. And so it's like, hey, how do we help you work harder in the area that you want to work hard in, right? Because what we do, it's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to make it easier. It's not that much fun. Anything that's easier is not worth it, right?
That's right. And
so it's just, hey, how do we channel that to where you want to work hard in the area you want to work hard in? Does that make sense?
100%. I mean, it's like you know, you have relatives who stress their whole life working shitty jobs.
Yeah.
Like at least you're working towards something you want to do.
That's right.
You know? That's how I feel.
Yeah. the best hour guys, they talk about the gym mayor, right? Like you get to the point where you're doing the work that you want to do, and it's all on your own terms. Versus, you're right. Most CrossFitters I know, man, they'll stay there for 12, 15 hours, whatever it takes, right? Or you see it at every event. Like, look how many hands go up when you ask for it from CrossFitters. You know, just like volunteers left and right to push a rock up a hill or whatever you ask them to do. So yeah, being able to help some. I think about my young self, and I'm like, this literally happened. I managed a gym in Southern California, and at one point, me and my buddy decided that we needed raises. And the guy who owned the gym, literally, he showed us the P&L. And we were like, wait. He's like, look, there's no money, first of all. Like, you guys, because you make more money before I can pay you more. And we were like, yeah, no, but we want to raise. It's like, we didn't comprehend what was happening, you know?
When the owner shows you the P&L, you know it's probably not going to be good.
Well, there was problems all over the place, right? Like, you know, he was extremely hands-off, could have been more hands-on. But my point being, like, we knew how to work hard. We knew nothing about business, right? I knew how to connect with people, knew nothing about business. Just didn't even have an inkling in my mind about how to not just give everything away, and, you know, the lights still had to get turned on. So,
been there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a natural trajectory for a lot of people in our industry in particular.
Yeah, totally.
Like, you're empathetic, you love to give, you know, you just feast on actually serving people. But eventually you have to turn that corner if you.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
like,
it's great.
It's like, hey, we got to, you know.
Yeah, it's a business.
It is a business.
Point.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, no, I think, you know, with all the stuff you guys got going on, that's the big thing is, I mean, the pain cream's been awesome. It's something that I've used as, with that, you know, it's broken record at this point. Everybody's got injuries and aches and pains, right? So it's like, you know, you just work around it. And I had this Kevin at the gym that is always working on everything. We have a common bond over our knees. And you just like, I got to a point today, I'm like, we were talking, you know, he's like, you know, he's been doing the barefoot-ish running, you know, trying to like add some volume in, see how his knee takes it. And I've just in the last, I'd say 4 to 6 months, I'm like, man, my knee's going to hurt no matter what I do. So I'm just going to do it. Right. You know, like I'll work around certain things. The heavy stuff is pretty debilitating on the knee. So what I've done is I box squat, you know, I'll still, and I like to try to have some weight on me and work around it. And so Rogue makes, man, they sent me one the other day. It's think the plyo box that we have that's 20, 24, 30. This one's 14, 16, 18. And it's a soft box. And so, you know, I'll just change up the ranges of motion. 14 I can tolerate pretty well. 12 it's a little too low to where I'm like, oh, yep, a little pinchy there. So I've been, man, 2 times a week I try to load up a squat in a front and a back and alternate in those two and just get below parallel. Done a lot of backward sled dragging. I've done a lot of iso holds at or below parallel without weight. I've used the slant board a lot. And man, I just like the days where it hurts. That's the days I try to lean into it a little bit more, right? Having to add a little bit of volume for this triathlon. So on days when I can, I'll strike while the iron's hot. And what I've just learned though is, man, if I get moving through that range of motion and try not to shy away within reason, right? You know, control those types of things, man, then he just feels better, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was laughing about this last time you kind of was talking about it. We're like, you go to a doctor usually and they're like, okay, your knee hurts. What are you doing to address it? And you're like, I don't know. I stretch every once in a while. He's got a list. It's like 5 pages long on notes, you know?
That was poetry. That was like Tom Brady calling plays, you know? I was like, wow, that's pretty good. Keep going.
Yeah.
Not going to stop you.
Yeah, man. You know, and that's and I don't want to put it out there that I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try my hardest is, you know, everybody freaks out that I've been running a ton in the Vivos, the barefoot, man. They're like, no, you gotta have some padding. You got to do this. And I'm like, man, the more instability I add with, you know, a shoe with, you know, the foam, the whatever, the more pain I have because I have no ACL. There is limited meniscus. Everything that's holding it in place is not there. So if I can, one, create stability through the foot, build up calves, build up quads, build up hips, it will take some pressure off the knee. Granted, there's going to be, you know, the Achilles, we'll see what happens as I add volume in the running. You know, I want to say that, hey, if I train throughout with the Vivo, with the barefoot, I think I'll be all right. You know, I've got this plan, and you know how plans go, of 1 Metcon a week. I run maybe a mile-ish in the Metcon. 1 interval, I'll probably run it on the runner for the most part, 5K, 7K-ish. And then on Sundays, I'll just do a long slow. I did a trail/road this week where it's 12 minutes on, 3 minutes walk. And it's not a like recovery walk. It's a walk with purpose. And I'll do that for a month, and I'll slowly add, a 12-3 until I probably get to 15 to 16 miles. And I'm like, hey, if I can do 15 or 16 miles, I can do 24 miles or 26.2. So, and I'm going to do my damnedest to try to see if I can train throughout in the Vivo, and because this is what I do. It's what I've used. And
have you gotten on the barefoot train yet?
I have not, but my brother-in-law, so I was just in Colorado, and he was talking about this new exercise movement where it's all about your feet alignment, and I'm going to butcher the name. I won't even remember the name. It sounds like Tabata or something like that. But I've just been having Achilles issues.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, dude, barefoot. Quit messing around. Like you're over stimulating your Achilles. And honestly, I run probably 15 miles a week, so not like a ton, but enough. I wear Hokas.
Okay.
He's like, you got to get out of those old man shoes. So
I tried Hokas, man. They didn't do anything for me, and and I'm not a doctor. I play one on TV. What I would tell you if it's a tendonitis thing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Load that thing, man. Load it, but slow tempo.
Okay.
Eccentrics, slow. Do not, be careful with the plyometric, that type of stuff, but you got to build that tendon up. And man, I had tendonitis in my right knee so long that pretty sure that's what happened with the left knee, that I was overcompensating, and that's when I ended up tearing the meniscus, and we're at where we're at. But the one thing that helped me was super slow, eccentric tempo squats with the knee with the tendonitis. So, I mean, I would, some sled pushing, those types of things, but like eccentric, calf raises, but slow tempo stuff.
I'll take anything I can get because I feel like I'm that old man.
You run in Hokas?
Yeah.
And it just slowly creep up on you? Or?
I think it was probably an old injury from rugby that just, I remember having some Achilles issues towards the end of my career, and then it just kind of came back. I think it's just like old man syndrome to some extent, and then not taking care of it and addressing it.
I'd be careful with the going straight barefoot right away.
Okay.
I always tell people what I did was run, easy run on a runner completely barefoot. I'd do like a minute on, minute walk, and I would just slowly build into it. And then I started adding the shoes into like CrossFit style stuff. And then I started doing long runs in it. And then if I had anything that was major creep up, I'd be like, okay, let's back up a little bit. It's not you can't immediately, I don't think, run straight into the barefoot. I think it's something, it's an acquired taste for sure. Wear them around, doing life in them, and slowly build into it, because we've, for years and years you've been wearing other shoes. So
the big grandpa New Balance.
I went, I tried to go runner. I'm like, yep, I'm just gonna do the runner, and it hurt me. You've been doing you got a race coming up. You've been running in runners, or what are you doing?
I run in runners.
Do you?
I do everything, hunted and barefoot.
You're also 20.
Oh, wow.
Wear barefoot.
That makes a difference.
Well, what brand?
Hoka. I wear ultras sometimes.
Yeah, I like the ultras.
And they're like a 0 drop runner. And then I'll run in my Vivos, like in workouts. Mm-hmm. But if I'm doing like specific stuff, I'll wear my ultras. Or if I want to actually be fast, I'll wear Hoka, like a wide toe box Hoka. Mm-hmm. But I don't have any knee or I don't have any pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
You squat barefooted?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Well, and
Vivos,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man, what am I, like 3 or 4 years in, like I've not had anything but a Vivo on my foot, unless we're like going out to dinner or something. I'll wear a Jordan or something.
Or if you're clipped into a bike.
Or clipped into a bike. But I did see a company came out with a wide toe box bike shoe.
Love it.
So I think I'm going to buy some of those to try.
Wow.
Yeah.
You sold me, man.
Man, I think
the shape is the shape more than anything. So like ultras are the only running shoe that I can run in, because they're made for fat feet to like let your foot relax. But since starting to wear those, I do notice anytime that I'm in really anything. I mean, the Reebok Nano was the closest that came to like the wide toe box that would let me kind of chill.
This doesn't allow me to heel strike.
Yeah, agreed.
And so I have to stay up on my foot, man. I have to use the foot like it was designed to use, right? as a leaf spring, and so I just
the Vivos will definitely ruin shoes for because that's all you.
I can't go back to a regular.
That's what my brother-in-law just said.
I can't do it, man.
He's like, dude, I don't know what I was doing.
Frank was a skeptic, and then he wore the Vivos for a competition or something, and he's like, dude, I can't wear normal shoes again.
I can't, man. And even like people are like, oh, you can't stand all day in those. Yes, I can.
It feels way better, actually.
I can't go back to like walking around, touristy type stuff when we go overseas. Like I'm like, oh, I'll wear Jordan so I don't look like a barefoot wearing person. But then I go back to wearing a barefoot shoe, man. I just can't do it. Seriously, dude, I can't do it.
I'm bringing I think my only shoe I'm going to bring to Sweden because I looked at the weather and it's always below freezing. Yep. It's always cloudy and the sun is only up from 8:30 to 3:30. And
so we're never going to see
you guys will work out a lot. I won't work out at all. I think I'm going to wear like the nicer Vivo boot.
Oh, are you?
That's going to be my shoe for the
high class.
I'm going to be classy
Vivo,
the whole time.
You are going to be classy.
That's funny. I was going to ask, what are you bringing? You're just going to bring out workout stuff.
Just going to bring workout stuff, man.
Because we're not going to really go sightseeing.
What is the event?
Coaches Congress.
Oh, okay.
A trade show for coaches mostly, but we'll run workouts in the mornings and stuff. Last time I was in London, and on Sunday night we got to go explore, but I don't think
we can do that again. It'll just be dark.
Yeah, we'll probably do that Sunday night. Let Darren go see some things. I've never been to Stockholm, so.
I heard it's beautiful. Clean, friendly people.
Really?
Yeah. I had a friend that was just like, dude, you got to go to Stockholm. It's amazing.
Really?
Hope it's well lit.
On the video, you can use the Judah and the Lion song.
Yeah.
Stockholm.
Yeah, I was thinking about that actually.
They're a great band.
Yeah.
Aren't they in Nashville?
Yeah, friend of mine.
Yeah.
We grew up together. Families knew each
crazy.
other. Actually saw his dad the other day when we went to 1 hour Martinizing. My kids thought it was the coolest thing ever because Trice loves all my kids love Judah and the Lion, but he's been on a kick of Judah and the Lion. He'll like go.
Great.
He loves Morgan Wallen and Judah and the Lion, and then we listen to a lot of Christian music, but he's on a Judah and the Lion kick. And we went into 1 hour Martinizing, and his dad, Britt, owns 1 hour Martinizing. So I was like, hey, Trice, you know that song you like? Because he's real big on 7,000 Times right now. And he's like, I was like, that's Judah's dad. And he's like, whoa. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. He's 8. So he thought it was awesome.
For context, I've said this before, but, his kids go there now, but when my kids went to middle school, there's a picture of Rich, picture of Angelo, and then a picture of Judah from Judah and the Lion.
We're a Hall of Fame at Prescott Central.
So you guys went to high school together.
He was 3 or 4 years younger than me.
Got it.
His younger brother was 2 years younger than me. But we, our families went to church together. I've known Judah. We call him Juice. Judah pretty much my whole life. So
I had a funny side. We were just flying back from Colorado on Sunday, and the guy who spilled his wine on me was the guitarist for Lit. You remember Lit?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I'll just wash it, man. Thanks. Good seeing you. Great music,
Yeah.
Did you recognize him before that?
Well, it was hard not to because he had like a goatee that went down to here, and it was like braided.
Yeah.
And then he had like crazy hair tatted up, and I'm like, oh, these guys. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
After he spilled his wine, we talked a little bit.
Okay.
Bonded over that.
Yeah, I bonded over it.
Nice.
I figured we fist bump and
Nice.
say hi.
Now you got him on testosterone, and he's
I should have.
Client confidentiality.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
All right. So what can people? What's immediate call to action? What's your go-to? Get your blood work done.
Get your blood work done. Yeah, start there. I mean, in a week or two, we're going to be rolling out that tassel device. So
so
make it super simple for anybody.
Yeah.
But at minimum, be getting your blood drawn at least. I think twice a year. If you're on therapies, it's probably 4 to 6, as you know.
Yep.
But that's a great place to start. And women, the same thing. Women are facing this perimenopause and menopause crisis that is just taking the world by storm. And we're treating more women than we are men right now. So
really,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. So it's been great.
Educational stuff like coaches, because I know that gym owners would be a great crowd for you to be in touch with. Where do you guys provide those educational materials, or do you have like a favorite outlet? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Tessa.
Yeah.
We have a affiliates manager and, director of clinical education that can walk anybody through this stuff. And we're really trying to grow that segment of our business, and just, it's a better way to stay in touch with the community too.
Yeah. And then I guess lastly but not leastly, we need you back out here for the Mayhem Classic. We're running our big
competition
right? Again, mid-April.
April? Yeah,
17th
totally.
or so. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Come out and sling those.
When's the triathlon?
November.
Not till
Oh,
November.
you got a little bit of
7th,
time.
Yeah. You in? Yeah, you're in.
Hey, yeah, you're in.
Yeah, you're in.
Dude, you're signed up, dude. You're gonna be there in
You're
barefoot
out.
shoes now.
You know what? Don't tempt me with a good time.
Hey, we have a group now called Try or Die.
That's what happens when you hang out with Rich.
Yeah.
So 26.2. What's the bike? 100.
So you start with a 2.4 mile swim.
Okay.
You go 112 on the bike.
Yeah.
And then 26.2.
Is this an Ironman, right?
Yeah.
Full Ironman, yeah.
Full Ironman. We don't do anything halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watkins posted that thing last week. That was pretty good. Yeah. It was from it's The Rock and Kevin Hart. I forget which one of the movies it was. And it's The Rock talking to Kevin Hart, and he's like, "You're in or you're out?" And he's like, "I'm out." What do you mean? He's like, "You're in or you're out." And he's like, "Well, what is it?" And he's like, "You're in or out?" And he's like, "Well, then I'm out." And he goes, "No, you're in." And he's like, "Well, you just asked me if I was in or out." And it's pretty much how it goes around here.
That is how it goes around here.
You know, if I was to have one gift of the spirit or spiritual gift, it'd be fitness peer pressure. That's pretty much all I'm good at.
You're working on me, man.
There you go. See? See?
I might have to get in some barefoot shoes.
You got plenty of time.
You're going to run in those, you think?
I'm going to do all. I don't want to I hate to deal in absolutes. You know, I try my best to, live by a standard. But if we're not willing to grow and at least, say, hey, I'm going to do my due diligence to train in these. I've worked up to 6 miles. The other day I did it
That's great.
In the 12-minute on 3-minute walk. I was running at like an 8:30, 8:45, depending on the incline. If it was flat, it was usually around 8:30. And then my walk, I think I averaged just under 10-minute mile pace with the walk and the run. So I'm like, I will be happy with that.
Yeah.
It's not the fitness. It's the, what my body's going to do to that point. So I say all that to say, I'm going to try. I'm going to try, get it.
Do you have the actual runners? They make a runner.
Do they?
I mean, their version is very barefoot. I'll show you. I got a pair at the office.
Oh, I've got I was thinking, I do a lot. I keep a pair in the basement of the lows.
Okay.
The Magna Light.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But they're more firm. That's like a gym shoe.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a Modus. That's the Modus.
No, Modus is what you probably have in the basement.
Is that like the original kind of low that they had? Okay. That's what in the basement that I run. So that's I would probably run in a low just with how hot it's going to be and all that. Well, we don't know how hot it's going to be, but yeah.
Well, November should be all right.
Should be.
It's in Florida.
Yeah. It is in Florida. You just never know. You know, from the Gulf of America, you don't know what weather's going to come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way to go.
Best name change.
Hey, Denmark, or not Denmark. Denmark owns it. Greenland coming next, that's...
Let's be honest. It's coming.
It's coming, dude.
It's coming.
Yeah, let's not get too political at this point.
Yeah, cut.
No, I'm not. Hey, I'm not afraid to. But hey, the news that I'm reading and hearing, I'm like, oh wow. I thought that was a joke when it originally.
Everybody did.
And then now we're like, oh, we're having meetings about this.
Yeah.
In Switzerland, the meetings are going on. I think this week.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, I saw it this morning. I didn't realize it. And then this morning, I'm like, oh yeah, wow, we're doing that, huh?
Oh.
My mind just goes to what species can we hunt there?
I thought the same exact thing.
And how are the tags?
Sweet.
How do the tags work?
What animals and how's the tag system? When's the lottery start?
You gotta have elk up there.
I don't know, dude. Zero chance. There's big
polar
animals.
bears.
Oh,
there's got to be big animals.
Oh,
you're
there's
saying
either big animals and no hunting or highly strictly controlled, but it's not a big place.
It is. It's way bigger than you think. It's huge.
Okay, it's bigger than I think, but it's still not big.
It's snow. I mean, Greenland's the snow one, right?
Yeah, don't you remember in not Ninja Turtles, in Mighty Ducks, Greenland is full of ice and Iceland's full of green.
Yeah.
Polar bears, musk ox, reindeer, Arctic fox, Arctic hare.
There's plenty.
Yeah.
A reindeer is just a caribou, right?
Caribou. Yeah. Reindeer, caribou.
Are there stag?
Muskox. No.
Muskox would be cool.
Is this on your bingo card? We're going to talk about huntable species on Greenland?
No. Yeah, sorry. People usually mark when we start talking about hunting in the podcast.
They're going to say hunting.
No penguins.
Yeah, hunting podcast begins at 1 hour.
Yeah. Arctic puffin.
I ate puffin when I was in Iceland.
Puffin's a bird, right?
It was not pleasant. I did not like it.
Can you imagine
walrus, whales?
Can you imagine hunting an Arctic puffin?
Arctic puffin?
Just hang it up in the office stuffed.
Yeah, reindeer would be our main thing there, and muskox.
Don't do puffin sounds like that's
there's a cereal called a puffin.
I just think I go back to Elf where he's like, hi, Arctic Puffin.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you probably can't do much with those.
No.
And
I just don't think it'd be much of a,
sorry,
wouldn't be much of a hunt. It'd be like clubbing a baby seal.
Yeah.
Atlantic
You know what I mean? It's
Puffin,
like,
not
they can't
Arctic,
move
sorry.
quick.
Atlantic Puffin.
Kick you out of
I'm sure the
Greenland for
people are
that.
going to tell me I'm wrong on that. So, yeah.
Well, good luck
hunting in
with
Greenland.
that.
Send you
May as well
pictures.
just stop over there while you're in Sweden.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, check it out.
Iceland actually does. If you fly Iceland Air to Europe, you get a free stopover for as long as you want in Iceland.
Really?
Yeah, at least it was that
I've
way.
never been to Iceland. That's one.
Nashville's got direct.
To
Nashville's
Iceland?
getting direct to a
To
lot of
Reykjavik.
places.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty inexpensive, like $700.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a cool place. You been there?
I have not. It's on the list though.
Very, very cool spot. All right, we covered a lot of bases,
Yep.
boys. Dude, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming.
Yeah,
man.
thank you
Appreciate
for having
coming
me.
out. Heck
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
And all the help and all the
of
support.
course. Yeah.
And on to the next, man.
On to the next.
On to the next.